Hey, welcome to another Valley Forged. Today I'm talking about a license to print money. I mean, not quite as good as the Fed, but I've been selling these for years, and they consistently sell all the time. My latest version, which is here, the Cats, which is just wood, it's just different colors of wood, sold out almost immediately at the last show I was at. I wish I had a lot more. I just wasn't expecting those. You know, it's a new rendition. I used to just cut them out and paint them, kind of like I did with the corgis. You probably may have seen this in my last video. If this kind of thing is useful for you, like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I do a lot of reviews of machines and what's best, what's not, but I also teach people how to create stuff and sell it and what to do. So in my last video, I just finished a show and I was telling you some tips and tricks on, how to sell at craft markets, especially with a laser. And, these corgis have done so well for me. I make keychains and coasters and earrings with them. So I try to have a mix of everything that sells well. And then I just do more versions of that, and it seems to work really well. Some cheaper versions, some more expensive versions. Like these coasters take time to make, and I'm going to go through that in this video. This particular set of coasters with the corgi butts, I cut it out like a puzzle. And so all of these different colors are cut out separately. I paint them separately, then I glue them back together on an MDF cutout of the whole thing. So it's easy, it's flat, MDF, it's cheap. It really keeps everything flat because when you're working with 1/8 inch, which is what we're going to work with here, you want to keep your coasters pretty, reasonably flat. And when you're working with that, it's easy for when you paint one side or you do one side with a finish, it's easy if that gets hot or cold or whatever to start warping. And I'm sure we've all had to deal with that, even with hardwoods. So MDF generally stays flat, even at the 1/8 inch. So I generally glue whatever I'm doing down to an 1/8 inch piece of MDF. And then on the back, I have felt. Now, felt, it does smell bad, and if you don't have a good extraction, I definitely would not work with it. It says that it's pretty safe material, but this stuff is just, make sure that you get it away from you. I tend to like the cork more. It feels more coaster-ish, although the felt is great, but cork is quite a bit more expensive. I tend to buy it in these rounds. I think right now they're on sale of $12 for $25 on Amazon. And I put a 3.8 inch on the 4 inch, and it just fits really nice. It's going to be a more expensive option. And if you try to glue down your puzzle pieces that are 1/8 inch, okay, you may get some cork is not solid. So if you're going to get some warpage, it still can happen after you put it on cork. Another thing about cork, I hate cutting cork on a laser. It gets dirty and messy. It just doesn't cut the way that I would like to work with. So I end up buying that pre-cut. I'm sure there's other ways to cut it very easily without the laser, but I love lasers, so I want to do as much as I can with a laser when it's possible. So that's the corgi coasters, which, that's painting them. My next version of that I hope to do just with hardwoods, like you see here. Because now that I have a certain amount of different colors of hardwoods, I feel like I can replace the paint. I would rather not work with paint. It's expensive. It takes a long time. Easy to make mistakes. Yeah, bad for the environment, all these sorts of things. So, I would prefer not to work with the paint. And since these coasters in the wood versions sold out so quickly, I had also made wood versions of the Lotus, which you probably saw in my last video. Those also sold really well. And I did them pretty much in the same way. And then, of course, I have earrings for those. I have earrings in the kittens. So I'm fairly certain that if you make these, they're going to do well for you. So how do you do it? It's pretty simple, as you can probably imagine. Years back, I went to Etsy and I bought this Yin Yang Cats. It's not exactly this version. You know, different people sell different versions. They change it slightly. You see, this one has noses on it. Mine has a different form of nose on mine. Doesn't really matter. I've changed it. It's really great to learn Lightburn well. So I wouldn't even say I know it well, but I know it well enough to where I can change anything on this SVG. So I buy the SVG, I put it into Lightburn. I use MDF to do tests until I get it the way that I want it. Because of course, MDF is much cheaper than working with hardwoods. You know, and I really found that your cheap plywood at Home Depot, yeah, it works, but it's kind of garbage. Let's be real. And after you've worked with it for a while, you just don't want to work with it anymore. It's great for the sale bin. You know, I make a ton of these that I just engrave, which is totally an option. You can even do that with the hardwoods. Just engrave it and put it out there. And here, actually, I have a version here. Just an engraved version. I keep them cheap. I sell these for $3 to $5, depending on the wood and whatnot. And they sell all day long as well. It gives people a cheaper option if they're looking for that. Because I sell these for $8 to $10 a piece. And, you know, they're hardwoods. It's expected. And I have a little card that goes out and it tells you what kind of hardwoods these are made out of. And that definitely helps because you can show them. But a lot of people don't care. They just say they're beautiful and I want them, right? So they're willing to shell out that $8 to $10. And a lot of times they'll like to mix and match. They don't just want one. So let's go more into this. I picked this out. Now there is a ton of different Yin Yang kitties. You can go with any of the ones that you like. And probably any of these will sell well. I'm telling you. You could pick the cutesy one here. You could pick this one. I actually use this one for my earrings just because it's easier to put a hole here and it looks right. So I ended up using this for my earrings, but for my coasters, I use this one. So it's just up to you how you want to do it. But I tell you, cats and dogs, pets of any kind sell really, really well. Not just to the people who have them, but to people who know people that have them, right? I sell so many to people. Oh, they have a corgi. I'm going to buy these for them. Or they have a cat. I'm going to buy these for them. It works really, really well. So I get this. I pull it into Lightburn. As you can see right here, you're just going to do different cuts and layers. My cutout for my 20 watt longer happens to be 400 speed at 100 power. That works out really great for me. And that's really kind of my sweet spot. 300 is the lowest I like to go as far as speed. If I have to go any slower than 300, it kind of means to me that I need more power. Or, you know, you have to do several passes. I just rather not do that. I would rather get it done in one pass. So, but if you have a 5.5 watt laser or a 10 watt laser, this is plenty doable, even with the hardwood. I would say 10 watt. Let's be real. In fact, I wouldn't mind putting the Rolly to the test for this one. I think that they would work really well. It would work really well. So you can see I have a mix here of engraving and cuts. So first thing I had to do was I had to make the whiskers a little larger so that they would show up. The nose, the eyes, the ears, you know, just different things. How far away do you need the lines to be for your laser not to make it a double cut? How thick did I need to make the tail so that it doesn't just disappear when I cut it? You know, little things like that you're just getting it right. And mostly you're doing that with MDF. Now, you can sell your mistakes in your sale pile. So it all works out to be fine. Don't throw those away unless they're really, really bad. Then I'll show you the video. Once it's all cut out, you have everything in pieces. You just mix and match it with the other ones that you have. And you'd be surprised. You may like some, and some other people may like completely different ones than you think are the best. So these red paddock ones weren't necessarily the first ones to go, but they are the one that bring people to the table. So I think a lot of times people would get the maple and the walnut, even though it was the paddock and that red color that brought them over to the table. So it's good to have a nice variety. A strange thing about selling coasters is you think that people are going to buy a set of matching ones, and oftentimes they don't. And it was a big surprise to me. So as you can see, all right, here I get my wood from the Hardwood Edge or Craft Closet. I have an order here from Craft Closet. They're both great. Now, some of the woods aren't the same size. In fact, a lot of times they'll be just slightly different in thickness. And you can deal with that the way that you want to deal with it. You can actually turn them upside down and then glue it in. You know, it takes a little bit more time, and then turn it the other way and glue it onto the MDF. Or, you know, I have had little trouble as long as there's only a little difference between the heights. It really isn't a big deal. Set a glass on there, make sure it's not going to tip over or something. It's fine. When you spray it with lacquer, which I do after every one, it kind of evens it out a little bit. So this is really up to you. And as you can see, I also did keychains. I also have earrings. And like I said, kind of a license to print money. I mean, it seems crazy to me that every person who is out there with a laser doing crafts isn't going to have these on their table. And you are welcome to take this idea. I don't mind. I'm not worried about the competition. Just try to remember how much you're spending on this. It says $82.15, but that's totally not true. I had a refund from something else, but you know, this is going to cost you some money. So you can start small. You don't have to be buying huge packs of these. I did find that I really liked the 6.5 by 15 inches better than I liked the 4 inches by 16 or something. Whenever it was big enough for me to make 4 coasters on, because I make them 3.8 inches wide. But then I didn't have any left over to do earrings and other things like that. So I kind of make 3 per. And remember, when you cut these out as puzzles, say you make 3 out of the paddock, right? You're actually going to get 6 paddock coasters because you have both pieces of the puzzle, which are going to be switched. So think about that. And then you get the 15-inch. And so the rest of that I use to make keychains, earrings, whatnot. So I'm kind of rambling a little bit now because I really wanted you to... As you can see here, I got the coasters here for $12 for 25. So the cork. And I think this is a really good deal for the cork, and they're very professional feeling. Just remember that you want to make sure that your coasters aren't getting warped. So I think that's kind of it for this one. You know, the corgi, but I also got from Etsy, so that's pretty easy to find. Lots of people make the earrings. So what I'm doing differently is I changed that to make the coasters and the keychains. And that's it. But if you have any questions or thoughts or whatever, or what's your best seller that you want to share with other people, I think that would be fantastic. I remember Louisiana Hobby Guy, my last video, mentioned slate coasters and keychains. And slate coasters, I hear, do really, really well. I've stayed away from them because of breakage, because they're heavy. But it just depends on you and how you like to do a show. Now, as far as selling all these things on Etsy, will you be successful or not? There's so much competition there and it's hard to break in. So I guess we'll see. Let me know. And I will see you on the next one. All right. Love y'all.